Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. I did file a motion to modify Mr. Payne's probation conditions. Mr. Payne reached out to me. He has a medical marijuana card from a licensed physician. Mr. Payne has back pain and
PAIN.
Correct, Your Honor, to clarify the record. And because of that, he wants to take medical marijuana to alleviate that pain. So he sent me all the proper documentation. I went ahead and filed the motion. It is true the state filed an objection, if you will. They filed a motion in response. That being said, Your Honor, Mr. Payne, it's my understanding, and I know we had discussions in chambers, that he's doing very well on probation. The last time we were here was for a probation violation. He was ordered to go through Square One treatment program. He completed that, an inpatient program. I believe he's completed the sober living. He's back with his girlfriend and his kids. He's working part-time. I'm not a doctor, Your Honor, and you know, I'll say this.
Neither's, okay, never mind. Go ahead.
I'll say this, Your Honor, and I shared this with Ms. Naroda prior to this hearing. You know, had I been in private practice still, I would have hesitated in filing this motion. When Mr. Payne reached out to me, I spoke to Ms. Vanessa Clapp, the director of the Lake County Public Defender's Office, who explained as long as our clients have all the proper documentation to go ahead and file that motion. But I will say that I know the court may hesitate when it comes to a defendant having access and smoking marijuana, particularly with the history like that of Mr. Payne. But I feel that this is a much better option than Mr. Payne. Hopefully he won't choose to do this, but reverting back to any other type of illicit drugs to try to alleviate that pain. He's otherwise doing well. Again, this is medically supervised. I mean, he's going to a doctor for this. He's going to have to get it updated every so often by going back to a medical doctor.
Well, call on somebody.
Well, I'm going to ask the court to please consider granting that request. I know in chambers, probation gave the court another option. I'm going to throw it out there for the record. If the court is hesitant about granting that request for Mr. Payne, I would respectfully request the court consider terminating his probation, allowing him to smoke, and then, you know, Your Honor, if he gets in future trouble, he knows he's coming right back in front of you, and not only is he going to have to face whatever trouble he may be in, but he's not going to be able to smoke marijuana. But Your Honor, I think if this is what it takes to alleviate his pain and to keep him otherwise sober and straight and narrow and doing what he needs to do, I'm going to respectfully ask the court to consider granting the motion. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, what have you been up to?
I was working in Leroy Township and getting really dirty. Been a lot of hard work for a very, very low amount of pay. I went through the treatment center, did everything there, switched jobs from Wendy's to this guy that owns a couple of businesses and some properties, and was supposed to work out to have a property, but it's not looking like it's going to work out, so kind of sucks. But I've been doing my best to keep my head up, and got to spend a lot of time with my kids recently, which was a very, very fun thing to do. So I have 3 little ones, 5 and 1 at the youngest, and they keep me busy, and they keep me smiling.
You, back in June, I think you went to Square One.
Yes.
So what happened there?
I finished and completed, like I promised you I would. All the way through IOP and everything.
Weren't you there one previous time too?
In January when I left early.
Okay.
And you told me to make sure I went through it, the whole program, and I did.
How long have you been coming in and out of these courts?
A long time.
Right.
A long time. 20 plus.
20 plus years?
Yeah.
Okay. And the one you're here for happened, I think, in May of 22, if I remember right.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It was at least 2 years ago.
May 5th?
August 5th.
August 5th, are you sure?
Yeah, it was August.
That's what I said in the indictment.
What?
That's what was in the indictment.
It was August, because it was towards the end of summer and it was right out in front of the administration office.
So what's going on with your back?
Well, I've been in 6 car accidents. I have some serious injuries. I have dislocated and bulging L4 and L5. I do see pain management.
Who do you see? Where do you go for pain?
Dr. Ekman in Ashtabula. That was all set up through Square One and everything. I'm gonna have to switch something out here now, but
What does he do? What do you
he's
do?
a pain management doctor. But I don't take anything that's like illegal.
So what does he do for you?
Neurontin and these Celaxis, which is an anti-inflammatory pill that's easier on my stomach because I've ripped a hole in my stomach, bled internally before, so I have to take special medication.
Okay. What is this? Where'd you get this medical marijuana card from?
It is. I'm not sure of the name actually. I just talked to the doctor and they sent it up with, online. Hooked it all up. It would be attached to your medical marijuana card. It doesn't really give me that information. I'd have to look it up.
Where was he from? Was that a phone call?
Yeah.
Is he from Ohio or?
Yes.
He
Yeah,
is?
it's Ohio registration for sure.
No, I mean, the card is, but usually these doctors are from Nebraska somewhere.
I didn't ask the doctor where he, you know what I'm saying? I just knew.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So the first time you were on probation, or at the beginning of your probation, you had you do JTP,
Mhm.
Concord Pines, and go to Signature.
And I walked out.
And then the second time, Leah's house.
And they wanted me to cut my hair, and I wouldn't cut my hair.
Third time, Square One.
And I
That's
walked
when you
out.
left.
Yeah.
Fourth time, Square One.
Completed.
And where'd you go after that? Did you go somewhere else?
Yeah, I went to a sober living place for a time. It was like a week and a half, something like that, before I moved into the Leroy house.
So what's the reason that you stayed there this time instead of walking out?
I made a promise, and I promised I would complete, and I did exactly that. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be a man of my word. You've been gracious. You just listed off at least 3 or 4 chances that you've given me where I was completely out of my mind at certain points and could not contain myself. I walked out over frivolous things a couple of different times because I was just very selfish is the easiest way to explain it. I'm trying to be more selfless than selfish, and I'm really trying to do the right thing.
What mental health meds do you take?
I have them in my pocket. I take Innovative, Lexapro, those are mental health, and then I take a shot in Vega
How often you get the shot?
once a month right now.
Okay,
It can go up. It can go up once you have so many consecutive ones in a row. But there was a mismatch between my the doctors, so they ended up missing a month, or the paperwork missed a month, so I couldn't prove that I'd been on it for 6 months straight. But I have been.
What do those meds do for you?
Can balance. They give me an opportunity. They don't make me groggy, and I feel normal. So that's kind of like what we were shooting for, I guess. I still smile every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like making me in a slump. I don't have to sleep all the time. The Innovative helps me dial in, helps me stay focused. And then Vega just keeps me from going manic.
The problem in the past is you weren't always taking meds, right?
Yeah,
And then you were taking what? All kind of other shit, right?
all kinds of other shit.
So do you see a difference in the last 5 months and now? I mean, going back more than 5 months and now, do you see a difference in the way you are?
Yeah, I can see the difference. Yeah, I'm not as out of my mind. I still like to be a little crazy,
Eccentric.
Eccentric is a much better word. Absolutely. I like to be eccentric. And I think that feeds into my children, you know what I'm saying? They smile and they laugh and they play and they don't have to be self-conscious with themselves. I grew up with a lot of self-conscious. I got bullied as a kid, jumped by my entire 5th grade class, so I didn't socialize very well with others. That restricted a lot of things. Then when I tried to socialize, I used drugs and alcohol to socialize. So that didn't work either.
You have anything to say for yourself?
In terms of the request, Judge, the state would just note, and I'm sure the court is aware that, I believe that in 2024, some of the violations were related, obviously he had one for testing positive for marijuana, I believe, when this came to light in April. But then in May of this year, he self-reported to probation once in jail that he had used methamphetamine. So that is the state's concern, that it's a slippery slope, Judge. And the state would ask that you deny this
Okay.
request.
So the 22 case was the first time I had you
Yes,
because of the problem upstairs.
right.
And it was kind of a rough start here, wouldn't you say?
It was.
So I put you on, when the hell was that? April of 23, 5 years of probation. And the main purpose, well, the purpose of probation was to try to figure out the mental health and the drug. It seems like you've stabilized on the mental health, and by virtue of the fact that I haven't heard of you or seen you in the last 5 months is because you're not using drugs. Otherwise, I'd have seen you, right?
I haven't been around town either, so I mean.
Well, I mean, you've had to report, haven't you?
That's true.
Okay. And you've had to test, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were positive, I'd have seen you before
Right.
now. Okay. So the purpose of this whole thing is to get you to try to live a normal life. And you're only going to live a normal life if you're taking the stuff you're supposed to be taking and not taking the stuff you're not supposed to be taking.
Right.
So that was the purpose of the probation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the suggestion of Ms. Canals, remove you from probation, because you know what you're supposed to do. The purpose of probation was to get you to do what you're supposed to do. You know what you've done, what you're supposed to do. You know what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And so now's your chance to do it.
Thank you.
And like Bill said, if you screw up again, it all funnels right back here again.
Yep.
Terminated successfully.